AskRedd by Suburbala. What should people avoid while traveling to Europe? Watch out for pickpockets in Western Europe. There is a stigma that Eastern Europe like Romania and Bulgaria is dangerous, but pickpocketing happens more in Paris, Amsterdam, Barcelona, etc. Barcelona is the worst place I've been in the world for pickpockets, along with Lima, Peru. Nowhere else in Europe comes close. Avoid any restaurant that tries to strong-arm you into entering. Come sit down as they shove a menu in your face, fast talking, usually offering a free drink entree dessert, basically trying to get you to feel bad about turning them down. Falling in canals and walking on bicycle paths if they come to the Netherlands. What country should I go to if I want to fall into canals? Street scammers in Paris. Anywhere really, I just mostly see it in Paris. Rome is pretty rampant with it too. In major cities, don't let anyone hand you anything such as flowers or whatever. Once it is in your hands, they start asking for money. They even gave a flower to one of my kids and then wouldn't take it back. Just set it on the ground and walk away. I actually had the opposite of that in Rome. I was there back when I was 17 with a girl I had a huge crush on. We were chilling at Piazza del Popolo when a roughly 60-year-old dude comes up to us with a bunch of roses and gives one to me and says it's for her. I actually went for my wallet and pulled out some money to give him, but he refused to take it. He just kept pushing my hand away, saying no, Parema, and walked away. One of the nicest experiences I've ever had while traveling. Do not put your backpack on the back of your chair when you sit down to eat, especially outside. Thieves look for this, in groups of 3 or 4. One of them will come from one side of you as a snatcher, and the rest will stand in a group very close to you taking or smoking, etc., pretending that they don't know the snatcher. Then the one guy will snatch your item, and run right through the group, in case someone is quick enough to chase. They will accidentally be in your way. Happened in Rome, but locals recognized it and broke it up. To avoid letting the taxi know you don't know where you are or where you are going, the bad ones will drive you in circles and run the tab up. However, one thing that opened Germany up for me while stationed there was one interaction. I would ask in German, "Sprechen Sie English? Do you speak English?" Followed by "Mein Deutsch ist scheiße. My German is shit." Everyone from women at the bar to elderly people would laugh hysterically and then immediately switch to English in good spirits. They just like to see you try, then they are more than happy to help you out. So my advice would be to learn a quick fire phrase that you can pop off to quickly to avoid the fumbling and starting the interaction on a bad foot. Deleted. If you ever visit England and go to the lovely little town in Shropshire called Ludlow, you should avoid eye contact with Dennis. Fucker will talk you to death. Can't be worse than a certain coal mindery. Lol. Petty theft and scams. Don't leave stuff lying in the seat next to you on public transport. Don't leave stuff lying around anywhere. Don't put your stuff next to you on the table if you're sitting outside at a restaurant. Someone can just run up to you from behind, grab the phone, wallet and run away. Don't leave stuff in a rental car. Don't even put stuff in the trunk of the rental car after you park it. I've heard that in some touristy places thieves will employ local kids to sit at the parking lots and see who puts their camera, laptop or purse in the trunk of the car before walking away. Restaurants in touristy areas that have signs out front with pictures of the meals and the price featured prominently. If the menu is translated to several languages that aren't spoken in the country, then the restaurant is for tourists. Deleted. I don't get why guys don't always put the wallet in front pocket. Safer and more comfortable. Do not, for the love of God, wear stilettos in Germany. You will slip and fall down in front of 100 people, including children, who will point and laugh at you as you wobble away on the cobblestone with quivering ankles. Somewhere in China, That woman I saw in heels on the Great Wall a decade ago is living her best life, planning her first big post-cover trip to Germany just to spite you. Don't rent a car if you're going to stay at a major capital. It's not worth it. It's much better to use public transport and get an occasional Uber. At the same time, I'd say not to be afraid to rent a car if the bulk of your trip is in more rural areas. European cities are awesome, but there are plenty of amazing experiences to be had in less populated areas that are hard to reach via public transit. Should be obvious, but I'll say it anyway. Don't do the Hitler salute while in Germany. Not even as a joke, it's illegal. And Holocaust denial is illegal in 18 European countries. Fun story. My mother is an English teacher at a Dutch school. Her students went on an extended school trip to Germany and Poland to learn about WWII. At the German border, one of the students thought it'd be hilarious to do a Hitler salute. The whole bus had to turn back. No one was allowed into Germany. Deleted. Lol, top of the list. Creepy dudes outside airports trying to split cabs. Unless your dad's Liam Neeson. Or standing there on the sidewalk offering you a ride because a taxi line is too long and telling you to follow them to their car. And I don't have a Liam Neeson. Be respectful to memorial places. Don't come to the idea to make selfies or similar. Inform yourself about the traditions of the country. In some countries, you can openly make small talk with strangers, while in another one, you do have to approach them like a wild animal. I just remembered those idiot teenagers who made silly photo session in Auschwitz. I don't know where they were from, but see Monday, I can't believe some people can be so stupid. Don't think that what goes for one country goes for all. There is all sorts of differences in cultures, laws, etc. Also applies to regions within countries. Don't dismiss an entire country just because of one city or part of one city. Coming over with a bunch of cash, $, and using an exchange service to buy euros. Just use your debit or credit card, everywhere. If you need some cash, take it out of the ATM. Exchange rates will be much better, no commission, 3% fee from your bank, but that's reasonable. Get a no foreign transaction fees credit card, saves us a bundle even after annual fees. Avoid speaking without exchanging greetings first, in France at least, and not responding in kind when someone greets you. In other words, exchange bonjours before you ask where the toilet is. Avoid letting your kids act like monsters in public, in restaurants, in particular. Avoid rushing through meals, unless your kids are acting like monsters. In Paris, get to lunch, dinner before you're hungry, as it can take a while for the food to come. They are also not quick to come with the check. Ask for city water. If someone asks you if you dropped your wallet, don't reach for where you keep it. You're telling them exactly where you keep your valuables. Best to do a dice rolling hand gesture to wish them good luck and keep walking. Insinuating that Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland and possibly some parts of Cornwall are in England doesn't go down too well. Wow, English people are so touchy, especially Scottish ones. I'd avoid Ukraine at the moment. But when this war has ended, Ukraine is beautiful and very affordable. Avoid assuming Europe is all roughly the same. It's a continent, not a country. You don't go to Japan and expect it to be like Indonesia just because they are both in Asia. In other words, it all depends on which country in Europe you are traveling to. Taking a shit somewhere without buying something. If you do need to shit in a city center, I suggest large hotel lobbies and big department stores. I would recommend avoiding let any tourist group plan your trip. You will only see the most touristy stuff and everything you eat will be insanely expensive. If you research enough, you can do well in Europe and eat for much less. Some of them are pretty good, though. You still have to do your research and find those tourist groups. Anyone who hands you a rose. Same for the what's that slip bracelets around wrist. Tie them really tight and then try and charge you a fortune for them. I'm looking at you, Rome. Scams. There are a lot of them. Beware the person that picks up a gold object, ring etc., and tells you that you dropped it. It is not yours and it is costume, fake. They will then try to get money out of you. There's another one with a guy that will ask for directions or something like that and then give you an article of clothing. The jacket or shirt will be garbage and he'll try to get money out of you. There are lots of other scams too. You start to notice the same scams around Europe. Friendship bracelets, fake petitions, dropped ring, etc. Even outside the Vatican there are tons of guys in vests pretending to be employees to scam tourists out of tickets. Urine at ATMs, as they are basically a scam and will charge you up to %20 in fees for the money you are withdrawing. Edit. If you want to find the best deal on cash withdrawal at an ATM, look for a local ATM and opt to use your home bank to calculate the exchange rate. If you're American, get a Charles Schwab checking account, 100% free to sign up and use. Amazing customer service. Their debit card refunds all ATM fees, anywhere in the world. I've saved at least $500 in ATM fees over the last few years. I travel a lot. I've had an ATM machine eat my card twice and had it stolen once. Every time I had a new debit card within 3 days, even if I was in a small town in Hungary or Indonesia. Avoid trying to visit too many cities and countries during the same trip and stay everywhere for a minimum of 2 nights. Us tourists seem to want to see too many places for short visits and end up not really experiencing anywhere properly. Because it's probably the only time they'll get to Europe and they only have a week's vacation, so they are constantly in go mode. I say this as an American who agrees with you. It's better to get to know a place than trying to cram it all in 1 week. But there's no telling us that. I'd avoid social media and watching TV in the month before your trip and spend that time on Duolingo instead. Not sure where exactly you're going in Europe, but it'll help you to know a couple of phrases in the language. This is one of the most useful tips. Learn at least a few words in the local language and the people's attitude towards us changes swiftly. Pickpocketers. I was dragging a large piece of luggage into a train in Paris and another helpful passenger helped me for a second. To free up his hands, he stuck his iPhone into the beast pocket of his shirt. 30 seconds later, a guy stole the phone out of his pocket. I felt really bad for him. Killing the Archduke of Austria. Deleted. I know you're joking, but seriously, probably not the best idea to bring counterfeit money into an airport. Lol. Staying in major capital cities the whole vacation. You will only see a small part of culture there. Try traveling to some smaller cities or even villages and go for a few trips into nature as well. Great advice. Also solves the fear that every restaurant or street performer is somehow a scam artist. This may be partially true on La Rambla or some equivalents, but is a monumental exception and not the rule. That infamous restaurant in Mykonos that charge like $300 for a couple pieces of shrimp and a cocktail and then threaten you if you can't pay. While visiting Poland, refer to Polish cities' towns with their German names, like Sejm and Sigfogodansk. I witnessed a couple of drunk German guys did that, did not go well. Did they get beat up or worse? Tipping. Don't start making it the norm here. I vacationed to Barcelona a few years back and the people on La Rambla would do this thing where they ask you for a lighter and then go in for a high five embrace and pickpocket you. Someone told us to look out for it and then it literally happened the same night. Also, girls who look like prostitutes but are actually trained pickpockets. They will come up acting like they are trying to swindle you to paying for a hookup and distract you by being extremely attractive and grabbing your dick and shit. Meanwhile your phone and wallet are also being taken. Happened to me and my buddy, but the girls caught up to us and returned our stuff. I guess they either felt bad or didn't like the spoils. A shitty off-brand Galaxy and a Nintendo Switch brick charger. Barcelona is full of pickpockets. Rome too. Currency exchanges. Just go to the bank or use an ATM. Assuming that European countries are the same. Walking around loudly exclaiming how cute and quaint things are. Being extremely loud. Talking loudly about how much everything costs in dollars and say it's cheap. It may not be for those around you. Oh, the loud is very real. I didn't think my family really was, but there we were in Strasbourg, France, and walking down the street we realized we were beyond obnoxious. So embarrassing. Swimming in liquid iron. Seems like a good suggestion. You shouldn't litter in general, but if you do it in a big city in Europe, you might get a hefty fine. Check the language of the country you're traveling to. You'd think it'd be common sense, but I've had so many tourists assuming Polish people speak Russian, German and not, you know, Polish. From what I've heard, this applies to the majority of Eastern Europe. Also, while I understand amazement with architecture that looks straight out of a fairy tale, God knows I'm amazed with it too. Remember that people actually live there. As in, don't try to make a full photoshoot on one of the busiest streets of the city because it's aesthetic. Definitely don't block traffic while doing that, and don't snap at people who are trying to walk past that they're ruining the photo. Applies even more if the place of your photoshoot is literally in front of someone's aesthetic house. Complaining that something isn't how it is in the US, or whatever your home country is.